Hello everyone, welcome back to the Looney Bin. My name is Looney, and I am here back again with another One Piece theory that I don't know how much confidence I have in it. However, I do want to talk about it because it made me realize as I'm thinking of this theory, which I'm sure other people have thought of already, but I want to add a little bit something more to it, and that is Jinbe's dream. Now, as we know, Jinbe's dream is essentially to, bridge the gap between relations between humans and mermaids, fishmen. Because there's been a long history of racism among humans and fishmen that, Jinbei has been trying very hard to, close the gap. Otahime tried very hard. She got so close to being somewhat successful until she was assassinated, but she did, change the heart of one of the celestial dragons, and I think that is a very important step into, changing that relationship with it between humans and fishmen. Now, Jinbei is going to have a much tougher task in order to do so, right? Because while there are more people who are more accepting of fishmen, even more so back during, Otahime's day, there's always still that form of racism that still exists. Now, a lot of people believe that at the end of One Piece, if we get rid of all the celestial dragons, right? If whatever the final conflict is, the celestial dragons will disappear, and then thus, the relations between humans and fishmen will, become better. Now, I do think that that's a possibility. However, I'm going to try it a different way. I'm going to try to look at it differently. And in order to really get into like how I think, the relations between fishmen and humans will get better, is by discussing what might happen during the final conflict. Now, we all hear about Vegapunk's, the whole thing about, that the continent, like the planet, the continents that used to, exist on the planet were drowned. We are now underwater for some strange reason. Something that happened during the Void Century, more than likely the war between, the Ancient Kingdom, Joy Boy, and the 20 Kings, essentially, drowned the continents underwater, right? So, with this being, what we now know, I do believe that whatever the final conflict is, it will more than likely lead to one thing, and that is the destruction of the Red Line. The destruction of the Red Line, I think, is a very popular theory that has been going on for many years. There's been a lot of people who talked about destruction of the Red Line. To me, the destruction of the Red Line seems like the most, obvious thing that could happen, because the Red Line kind of represents, essentially, dividing the world, because it's a huge mountain range that goes around the planet. Right, you have the celestial dragons who live right at the top of it, and Imu and the world government who govern, everybody else. Essentially, if you destroy the Red Line, that freedom that Luffy wants, that Joyboy wanted, it will be destroyed, right? So, if that is what will happen, and we're talking about the destruction of Red Line, more than likely by the ancient weapons, Pluton and Uranus. Me personally, I think it will be Uranus, because think about, if Uranus is at full power, Uranus could actually legitimately shoot lasers down from the heavens to destroy the Red Line much easier than something like Pluton, which might not be. Depending on what Pluton actually is, it might be harder for Pluton to destroy the Red Line. However, Pluton will definitely be used to destroy the Red Line in some form or way. I just think that Uranus, because it can essentially, assuming that whatever happened with Lelouch is Uranus, like the ancient weapon, that is more than likely going to be used to destroy the Red Line if that's where they're going, right? If Oda decides to go in that direction. Once the Red Line is destroyed, what will happen, I think, personally, is that it will create a gap, a big gap around the planet where the Red Line used to be. And what essentially will happen is that once the Red Line is destroyed, the moment Uranus, sets down, just starts destroying the Red Line, the water levels will rise. Like what happened with Lelouch, right? That would probably be the best example. When Lelouch was destroyed, earthquakes and the sea level rose in a lot of places around the world. We see that in the manga, right? Essentially, something like that will happen. When the destruction of Red Line happens, with the destruction of Red Line, it will push the water all out to the planet, to the other seas, to the Grand Line, right? And essentially, there will be a huge hole that goes around the planet. Similar to like how Lelouch has that big hole where Lelouch once stood. But the key thing to this theory is that, or to this idea, to this theory about Jinbe's dream, is that it will raise the water level, right? But the water will then soon recede down, and essentially the water will lower until the continents rise back up, and the world has changed, right? Essentially, that's what the destruction of red line theory is supposedly supposed to do in essence, based on the information we do have. That is the likeliest scenario. But what I want to discuss now with this, the whole thing with Jinbe's dream, is the part where the water starts to rise. So when the water starts to rise, it's considered will be the Great Flood. Essentially, the islands that we know now will be flooded. It doesn't matter what island it is; it will be flooded. Like the entire planet will be covered in water. In my belief, that will be the Great Flood, and essentially, we're gonna, humans, everyone who lives on the planet is gonna need to find a way to protect themselves, to rescue, to be rescued, which is why there will probably be at least, I want to say, maybe 5 arcs that will essentially, just like the biblical story, humans, animals, and others will go onto these arcs. We have Noah's Ark. Pluton could be considered an arc. We have the Arks Maxim that Enel used to go up to the moon. That could be used as an arc as well. We also have Water 7 could also be used as some sort of arc, assuming that they are finished in time creating this island that can float and survive with any type of flood, which what they're trying to do, right? And you could also have other things that could be used as arcs. Right now, I think there's only 4 right now that could be used as essentially arcs: Noah's Ark, Pluton, Arks Maxim, Water 7 could be used as an arc as well. If we to assume that it'll be fitted. So essentially, these 4 arcs will be used to, rescue all the people, all the animals on this planet while the Great Flood is happening with the destruction of Red Line. So here is where Jinbe's dream comes in. And it correlates really well with Shirahoshi and what her role will be as Poseidon. So Poseidon's role is to Poseidon's ability is to be able to communicate with the Sea Kings, right? To be able to use them in any way, shape, or form. Shirahoshi, using her power as an ancient weapon, will be able to use the Sea Kings to help, hold on, carry the arcs that are on the water. Like Arks Maximum will be up in the air unless something happens where it cannot fly anymore, right? But it will be used to carry these arcs, and sail through the seas as the flood happens, right? As the flood happens. In fact, who knows? Maybe the flood becomes so big that they go up to where the Sky Islands are. Who knows? Maybe that's also another place where the people can go up to. They go up to the Sky Islands to save themselves from the flood as well. So it could also be used as kind of like an arc, not necessarily, but the Sky Islands can be used somewhat in some way in that form. But essentially, Shirahoshi will be able to use the Sea Kings to help, save people's lives. But that's not the only thing that can happen during all of that. Jinbe, along, commanding all the other fishermen who are all over the world from Fishman Island, right? All of these fishermen can essentially help get these people onto the ship. If there's any, stragglers who are, dying or, drowning in the ocean, they could literally help people, save people from drowning. They could even help, pull some of these arcs. They could do all of this stuff. It will help create this sort of chance, this opportunity for the fishermen to showcase humans who may, have some sort of prejudice against them, that they are not bad people, that they should not be afraid of them, that they should not, judge them, that they should not, have some sort of hatred for them, because at the end of the day, they will save their lives, because the Great Flood will essentially give the opportunity for the fishermen, Shirahoshi, Poseidon, and the Sea Kings a chance to save the humans who are not able to swim, who are on these islands, who have no way of saving themselves. The fishmen have the opportunity to do that, and Jinbe will be the one in the lead for that. Sure, Shiroshi could also be in the lead because she is the ancient weapon, but I think at the end of the day, Jinbe will be the one who will lead the charge. He will be the one to, tell the fishmen, go do this, save everyone you can. Doesn't matter if they hate you, doesn't matter if they don't want your help. Save them. Save them from this great flood that is happening because of the destruction of the Red Line. That, I get chills anytime I think about like Luffy saying, "Everyone destroy, everyone, fire, destroy the Red Line." A line like that, right? I don't know, like I could go into like why Luffy would want that, would do that and stuff like that, but that's not the point of this video, right? But yes, the destruction of the Red Line, the Great Flood, all of this is going to be very important to Jinbe's dream because I think it will give them the catalyst to finally be able to communicate well and to be able to save people the same way Otahime saved that celestial dragon who used to be like, a fucking bitch, right? But then in the same way that Otahime helped him, Jinbe, all these fishmen can definitely do that. Even save the celestial dragons. That could also be another great sign of them, closing the gap in the relationship. Like, the celestial dragons see fishermen as nothing but slaves. But if they are drowning, if they are getting hurt, if they are like getting, possibility of dying, they will take any help at all, right? Whether or not that will change their mind, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, no matter what Jinbe and the fishermen do, there will always be people who will have prejudice against fishermen. Who will, have hatred for fishermen. That's just how, unfortunately, the world works. There will always be people there who will still hate others because of race, because of, a slight difference in who they are. And it's because, at the end of the day, it's, that hatred is being taught. And as long as it's continued being taught, there will still always be people who do, dislike people of other races and stuff like that, right? But yes, I mean, anything can happen. The Celestial Dragons could definitely, have a change of heart. But I think this would be a great opportunity to see Jinbe's dream slowly come true and close the gap, improve the relationship between humans and fishmen. That would be such an amazing thing for Oda to portray, like Jinbe telling everyone it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter what tribe they're from, it doesn't matter what race they are, we are helping them. Get everyone onto these arcs, Pluton, Noah's Ark, did I say Noah's Ark before? If I did not say Noah's Ark before, I don't remember anymore. But if I did not say Noah's Ark, I apologize. Noah's Ark is one of them. But yes. So essentially, that's how I think Jinbe's dream, in some form or way, can be accomplished at the end of One Piece during the final conflict. Because by sacrificing themselves, by using their abilities as fishermen to be able to traverse into the sea very well, they could save humans, these humans' lives from the great flood that will happen when the destruction of Red Line does, right? Assuming that's where, the story's going. And I think that would be such a great way to showcase Jinbe's dream finally becoming a reality. Heck, you can even have a moment with Jinbe or somebody else, trying to save the people of Kokoyashi Village because, of what happened between them and Kokoyashi and Fishman, right, with Arlong. You can have a moment with them, like Jinbe meeting Nojiko and Genzo and, wanting to help them because, maybe Nami needs their help or something, or because Nami asked, that kind of stuff, right? That's why I think it's going to be one of those moments for Jinbe, one of those great moments where, like, his dream is slowly, or very much the closest he'll ever get to accomplishing it, Who knows how Oda will write, like, an epilogue or the ending, and, like, maybe the relationship between, humans and fishermen are vastly improved, and there's not, there's, like, a very little amount of racism still surrounding, humans and fishermen. But at the end of the day, I think there will still be some sort of hatred, because it's just how the world, unfortunately, works. It sucks. The only thing we can do is slowly teach that it's okay to be different, that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what color of your skin, it doesn't matter what kind of race you are, fishman, long leg tribe or whatever, it doesn't matter. Once things go south, once you are in danger, you have the opportunity to save people. It doesn't matter if eventually they, see it differently or they change their mind about you. Compassion is one of the greatest things you can use to showcase to others that you are not going to let hatred determine whether or not I should save your life. Similar to how, like Jinbe thought that Nami would hate him, right? But she didn't. She didn't. She hates Arlong because it's literally all Arlong, right? But she did not hate Jinbe. She did not think that, he had any sort of like real involvement to the nightmare that she experienced for a long time. And I think compassion like that, like Nami showed to Jinbe, Jinbe is going to be able to show to all the humans he'll be able to save during the great flood that will happen when the Red Line is destroyed. So let me know what you think about this idea, this theory that could happen at the end of One Piece, or like during the final conflict for Jinbe and his dream about the four great arcs that will be used to save everyone on the planet. I mean, there's still a lot of people. There's gonna be a lot of people. Who knows, how Oda will handle if he does do like this great flood. But I think that will probably be like the biggest idea. It will be very similar to the biblical story of Noah's Ark, right? So yeah, let me know what you think. And I'd like to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and yeah, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate anyone who does just spend like a little amount of time a day to just listen to me talk about One Piece and my love for One Piece and my ideas. Not all of them will be right. Not all of them will be correct. That's perfectly fine. I don't think my theories are like absolutely 100% true. That they will happen, that I am telling you that, if you disagree, you're completely wrong. I don't believe in that kind of, like, interaction with people in terms of, like, theories. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. At the end of the day, I am wrong. And, that's the fun part of being a theorist. That's the fun part about theorizing One Piece in general. And, yeah. So, just know that as confident as I am with this idea, with this theory, it may not come true, and that is perfectly fine. And I will be glad to be disproven by Oda because, you know what? I tried. At the end of the day, all you can do is try, right? So, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time for another theory of mine that I could come up just randomly one day. All right, bye-bye, everyone.